Poem for the Feast of St. Francis on the subject of forgiveness, October the 4th, 2020. I cried for the Highlands last night, for myself. There is something writhing inside of me, a snake of mutant spleen. I waited for a storm to make my terrors holy. Concentrated days of dolorous effect, days of squinting intensity trump how I hope that he chokes, and all those social carnivores glittering and slain. A mood of diffuse fiasco, stubborn thing, return to the house again and again and dripping wet, a bone planchette shuttled to no. Something encrypted, then decoded, this volatile memory, my own latency of symptoms, data and desire, self-indulgence, self-defense, my tender recognitions flaring up in autumn home is terrible weather. I cannot fuss these stanzas into flattery. The line is a slack, elastic pouch, a flaccid primordial belly like cats, an ill-made thing, and will not tailor my malaise to grace. I don't know how to hold my anger, not to hate, starve a fever, someone said, and what are you but a fever in me, scrolled into my sticky creases, multiplying hourly. Feed a cold, and make your rippling flesh perform. Wolfing, burn the toast and bury the bread. My mother counsels me to be the apple round the razor blade, show 'em softness, give 'em steel. Mother, I cannot. Anna is a virgin queen in a high lace collar with an iron will, immobile and controlling. She wants a tight enigma, poem be the tourniquet, the crawling space, the tunnel in the wall, hoisted or refined, to be the knife I hold my high ideal, flensing, flensed and thriving, so tired of pretending, cried. A stifled recitation of all my faults and woes, hazard, jackard, jeopardy, my islands too, its rigorendal settlements torn up, predators, a violence as precise as law, snagged with a pretender's claw. The crippled croft I scrambled as a child I did not know. The shin I skinned I scraped against the keel of famine's ark. Why are you crying, though? I answer that I cannot reconcile. Turbines, pipeline, Cheviot sheep, bread so dear and life so cheap. Liar's mouth drooping limply from a face. The fertile valley limestone sacked. My worst nightmares are arid now. Trees torn up, our common pastures followed out by force. There's always force, enticed, induced, tricked and trapped. A trawler, like a rake through ash, sieving its silt bounty. Let them eat slate, flint, sand, and my attention turns to salt in looking back. Offals, quarries, abattoirs. I dream about the wicker quiches ripped by wind. Inside the quiches, stones for sucking, stones for smashing glass. We lived in a bungalow. I'd climb from my window, roll down drifts of snow. I was so happy. Sometimes. Or they will not come again, those days. My dull hair combed across my face in dialogue with crossing. Cold air walking over my arms like butterflies with green wings shut and slanted. I'll say again, I cried for the Highlands last night, and cried about you, and the cloudy meat in supermarkets, mountains of trash, cinder blocks, eviction, slash and burn, a silvery inevitable sky we cannot breathe, chrome and choke, politicians pressing their footprints into policy, the slicks, the culls, the mass extinctions, motorways and penny-fortive cops, or climate, long strides and longer shadows, all those hungry thugs for money. There's a hate in me, amplified, illegible with onslaught, how I thought I could outrun, outgrow, forgive. So many mouths, liquid with desire and glorified with gimme. These are my furies, a rage that will not mean resistance. Sorry, mother, just collapse. the willful shrinking deep inside, starve a fever, as if I could refuse the world and in refusing fix or heal. I wish my mind were a cooing place and not this sickle den, screw-driven era, end of days. I lock the bathroom door and howl my ghetto aisling to the gods of indoor plumbing, black mould and metered futility. To despair is a sin, I am told, but there's a moment in the day, like a trapdoor in a stage, and I fall through. I remember the cold. I don't remember being cold until you. And even in this sluggard winter heat, I will never be warm. Hate, like an animal sound in the bowel, in the bone, in the brain, in the bins at night, rooting through the rubbish. The knock and scrape, the oh I keep on mouthing like a stunned ventriloquist's toy. In the night the mind is both the night bus and the nutter, and we ride this room to circles till our hurting circles the earth. Merchants of this circling, I wish I could forgive you. Approach a wounded world with perfect love. The carnivores and racists too, and Johnson, even Trump, and every killing cop and every crooked judge, think tank apologists, their countersigned denials. Rape is not a metaphor, its own sinister Umwelt, way of being in the world, a being in by doing too. Its opposite is love. I can't love you. If I could hold this hate in my hand, could wear it soft like the sea, if a poem could encompass this, tongue of a militant humanity, silence in a stilled field kneeling, where the air is still green.